I'll not talk much. This is how we'll begin with all these things. Already many things are there, and we'll be talking around while discussing the questions. There are three categories of people which we keep telling, or many categories of people. As of now, three categories of people. One, they do not have problem and they can do much well in this examination, right? And there are some copies which are outstandingly well. And I think they can do well. It depends on UPSC how it will take it. We take as better way. It depends on UPSC how it will take. Right. You can learn from that. We'll mail their copies. We'll request those people also that some of those copies could be submitted so that you can scan and mail it to you, so that you can learn how they exactly write. Right. So there can be many logics and many things you may have heard, but there is only one logic also. Right. One should have a positive thinking. The positive thinking can bring some of the things negative thinkings can never bring. Although it's another matter that those people who have negative thinking, they can also qualify. It is not guaranteed that only positive thinking people will qualify. But there are some people you can learn when we'll send the copies, or you can see their marks also, that they can do much better. They are uncomparable. If we see their copies, they may have done much well, they may have studied, and how they have studied, certainly it should be respected, although it should not give complacency to them. Because again, performance here, performance in UPSC, both are two different things. Right, but this is how way to judge it. Second category of people who are applying their efforts, this is how I can say that. So they are in the category of they are applying efforts. And they can also do well when they will continue applying efforts. The third category of people, they may be applying effort that does not appear. Means it does not appear in this paper. Generally, we don't feel that you are applying efforts, right? And that's how, let's say that you will keep writing the same thing till end of this test program. By last mock test, this is also your answer will remain more or less same. It is not going to change much, right? So you need to think why it is not changing, because I know many people and for some time, and I know that that's not, there is no improvement. It is same way writing and writing practice. Test program can also be for writing practice. In fact, test program can be for many things. You may be thinking, I cannot guess, right? But the question is that if you are in that third category, you should do something so that it should change. It is difficult to change, you know it. Change is the only unchanging reality, but it is very difficult to achieve. If you are not changing, so you should see why you are not changing, and everyone can change. This is how the human we are, right? So every human has this, let's say that ability to change himself if he once determines. Generally we say that in other programs, other competition, there is only one seat, let's say that. Here there are thousands of seats. Like say in Olympic, there is only one gold medal, not 5 gold medals for one person. But here you have 1,000 gold medals that you have to win, or at least 100 gold medals if you want to come in top 100, right? So I don't think that there will be much, let's say that stiff competition than those Olympians or those sports person who are preparing themselves, right? Because certainly, let's say that the people who are doing well, they may have done much better, and that's why they are doing it. Other people are keep writing many things. This is how we'll tell what do you write. Most of the people answers are generic, abstract, right? You write very generic answer, abstract answer. Since you have knowledge, that is general knowledge. The difference between you and the people who are doing better, so this is how the difference. They don't write generic answer. They write a specific answer, right? They can exactly write what is asked, but you will keep making round and round. This is how I can say. Like for example, what we find, NPS, right? Post positivism, and others, their brother and sister. NPS, then new public governance, networks, right? और अगर NPA भी आ जाए तो चलेगा, right? और post NPA models, right? So in this question paper we have all these things, or you have a common literature for that. What? Participation, service, citizen oriented, right, flexibility, values, democracy. Anything you ask, you write the same thing. You can check your copies. Right. This is a major weakness in most of the copies. Right. When it is asked NPS, you are writing the same thing. When it is related to post-NPM models, you write the same thing. When it is related to positivism, structuralism, or etc., you write the same thing. Right. So it means then they don't have any difference. Right. All these concepts, so they don't have any difference. Right. But they do have difference. If they don't have difference, or if they had no difference, why these model could have been given? Then why different questions are asked? Then all questions are same. Right. Then what is the purpose of testing by different questions? Right. There is no any purpose in question. Let's say that testing you in different questions, asking all questions you have one answer. Universal model. Right. This is, although post-positivism, same answer. Postmodernism, same answer. Right. Network, same answer. NPS, same answer. Right. So this is how the problem that you have. And it's better to overcome this problem if you want to do it. Right. इसलिए कि these things are important part of literature now in public administration. Right. They are important part of literature. They may not be relevant 5 years before. Even we did not teach. Even questions were not also asked. Right. But you know that knowledge and society keep rapidly changing. Right. And when they keep rapidly changing, but you are not changing yourself. Although you talk yourself, you are next generation person. Right. The question is that you have to prepare it very specific. At least if you know 2-3 specific terms, it will make your answer specific. And that 2-3 specific terms you do not know. Or if you know, so it does not come in answer. Right. There can be possibility you know it. But when you write your answers, so it is not in those answers. So we will guess that you do not know. Right. And in examination, it will happen the same thing. It will appear that you are writing more or less same thing every time. Right. You can yourself guess that most of the time you are writing the same answer after few lines. Right. So this is what we'll be talking about, that you need to, and there is no dearth of literature. Already you may have many such notes and books, etc. Right. Why cannot you have few terms for this? Why cannot you have few terms for this? Already you have. Right. And some names of the thinkers, those who have given it. This is how basic thing you have to do. Right. So this is one major weakness in the answer that we have written. The second important aspect is that public administration and current affairs. Right. I think you may have started reading your current affairs. Right. So in some answers, there is no difference between what you write in GS answer and what you write in public administration. Right. Let's take globalization. So entire IR you have written. Right. Do you think public administration teaches globalization like IR? So IR में ही पढ़ लो. Right. This is how it is. Globalization in public administration will be different, and globalization in political science will be different, and globalization in GS paper will be different. No, isn't it? The way human has a different role in society, concepts have also different role in different subjects. Right. Means they will be taught. So I think you need to bring certain aspects. You should be careful about this, whether you are writing IR answer or whether you are writing public administration. So entire current affairs written from Doha development round to European Union to etc. Right. This is how we can say problem one. Similarly, when the last question has been given, so people keep writing on IT sector and digital era governance. Question talk on restructuring public administration, right? But still you do not understand. And you think, yes, it is what you can say 11th chapter, e-governance, and you know some of the things, so you can write all those things. Right. So this is how the problem, let's say that, okay, if you want to do well, you have to write very, very specific answer. Otherwise, I will also become tired writing in your answer. Write is specific, write is specific. Although this time I have not, some copies I do not write, so since I have to speak in the class, so you can take that as a remark. Right. So write specific answers. This is how I will be saying. Right. Write one paragraph less, but write is specific. Right. This is what. So these things are, let's say that the things which can be doable. We are not asking anything extra. Now we are asking anything extra. It's called third one. Can you give any new perspective in the answer? That will always be tested. That is called originality, what you are. Again, let's say some people are able to do it. You can also do it. You may be also doing in, let's say, 1, 2 question. Right. But it should become 3, 4 questions. Right. So when you bring certain aspects of analysis, so this is how it can be. Otherwise, again, the same thing is that your answer is nothing but those full of information. They do not want full of information. Right. So answer is not, let's say, about full of information that you can write all those information, and certainly many people will meet after this class that I have written the same thing that you told in the class, but why you have not given marks? Right. So मेरा कोई दुश्मनी तो है नहीं. I don't have enmity. I do not know also. Same thing happen in examination also. Examiner does not know. But exactly we cannot compare ourselves with PSC. PSC is always much ahead of us. That's a very different thing. But the question is that, right, you will come and ask, but you should think that why marks have not been given, because there can be many things. Answer is not merely full of those information that if you write, so it is complete answer. Right. You know it also very well. So this is how you should try to while writing answers. No doubt there is always a struggle about this. Let's finally take right. First question. The strategy that generally I tell, so many people know it also, that when you write test or examination also, so you should not begin with first and fifth question. You should begin with some other questions. Right. If you want to keep your mind right intact, right. Means if you want to keep or have peace of mind, so don't read first and fifth questions first. Right. This is how it will be saying. Because UPSC also design at times, let's say, or most of the time, in such a fashion that the first question, first stage, the most difficult, most panicking question, because it is test of also your emotions. Right. It's better not to read it, not to attempt it. It's better you attempt the other 3 questions. Right. Then attempt those, let's say that, first and fifth question. Why it is? It is also that in the last, if you are running out of time, so 1 10 marker will be left. So hardly it matters nowadays, or it matters. Right. It matters. Right. So it can be. But the question is that if 20 marker, 15 marker question is left, so that is certainly it is more than that. Right. Second thing is that find out simple questions, easy questions in the paper. There will always be. The thing is that you need to find out. Right. Not after examination, but within that duration of examination. Right. And you need to attempt those questions. If you are, they are coming in within that 3 questions choice. And those questions should be done much better way. Generally we find that when you come by that time, so your energy, time, mind, everything is lost. Right. And you do not write it. Right. There are some questions will come and discuss that why you have not written it when you are attempting. Right. Some questions can be new for you. Some terms can be new for you, so you may complain, right? Or you will say, I was not knowing it, and you will try to guess it. But what are you doing for the questions which are known? They are also part of those 8 questions. If you have attempts, UPSC will respect it, right? They will always give some questions, let's say delegated legislation question, they have been repeatedly asking. The question is whether you are writing the best answer on that. So you will be more bothered about what precariat system, right? People have not in mind ki nahi, there was also a question on delegated legislation, I was not doing well or I did not do well, but the people will carry in the mind what? Precariat system. I was not knowing precariat system, right? So you should not know. Who is saying you should know? That is not going to, let's say, make any difference, because I don't think that anyone will know it. In examination, I don't think that anyone will know it, is it? Right? And it is not going to make difference. The difference is what we have done on the known questions. And if you are not writing known questions, examiner will consider कि ये duffer है, इससे कुछ होगा नहीं. This is how this person does not deserve. Right? So why you want to give this message? Right? This is also true. So the questions, you know what are you doing, this you should always ask to yourself. Right? Anyhow, let's come to this. What we are talking about. Some people have attempted. What to do when the question you do not know? It's better don't attempt. Right? If you do not know about the question, so don't attempt it. Right? If you are attempting, so why to write 150 words? The question is that, right? If the question you do not know, so why you should write 150 words? This is what I want to say. It is wastage. You know you do not know, so why you are writing? And if you same time, if you have time, so I don't have any problem. Means why you should have, UPSC will not have any problem. So if you have time, so there is no problem in writing, you can keep writing. Essay you can also write on that. Right? But the question is that, right, I do not understand you. If you do not know, so why you are writing? Now can we say that you do not know whether you know it or not? Right? So if problem is at that level, so it's very difficult. Right? But there is no logic in writing, let's say that this question, if you do not know, you can guess, you can write some of the things. Right? This is how it is. So some people can guess some of the things. If it is interpretivist, तो ये कुछ दूसरा अलग method होगा, empirical or functionalist. Right? It is neither empirical nor functional nor positivist. इसका मतलब वो post positivist ही होगा. Isn't it? If any method which is neither functional, there can be problem, you may not understand functional, but there is a complement term you can understand, and that term is positivism, I guess. And when as soon as you get positivism, the empirical also comes. So if a term which is neither positivist nor empirical, so then you should have thought कि functional भी इसी का part होगा. Right? This is called guessing. The functional can also be part of this approach. It means interpretivist, the more inclination is towards post-positivism. Right? This is how. So, few lines you should have written. Certainly you can write best lines on positivism. Right? If you do not know functionalism, so the question is not demanding to write it functionalism. There is a term, two term, तो उसको भी use कर लो आप. Right? Functionalism and positivism. You have been given this space. So functionalism, positivism are like this, and you can write on this. After finishing it, because you know positivism, so don't write on functionalism, write on positivism. Still it will be some way better. Right? And after writing that, then come to interpretive, right, interpretivist, and you now do not know. So simple, you can write some of the moderate vague terms. Right? Subjective approach. No. So it may be about subjective way to address, right, know human behavior, right, people in organization. So it brings, और कोई term नहीं आ रहा, it brings other perspective in organization theory, right, that will be relevant. You never write term organization theory, right, administrative theory. This is how I can say that, because it is not in habit. But entire organization theory, you know, you address all the organization theory, or this is how the term. So it brings a fresh perspective, a different perspective in organization theory, as theory building, knowledge gathering cannot happen by only one method. This is how. And therefore, today when there is emphasis on methodological pluralism, so this is how we can accept both positivist as well as interpretivist. That's all. If you had written this much, still you could have got best one. Right. Why? They also know, examiners, कि these some questions students do not know. And if you write anything partially correct, so they will be very, let's say, liberal there. Certainly they will not be liberal on delegated legislation question. Rather they will be very strict. So on delegated legislation question, they will be having very strict marking. But a question which is very difficult, they will have a very liberal marking. Right. And this is how it happens. Some people, because of that, they can do examination. You find it goes to 250, 70, 40, and there is also 40, 50, 60, 70. Means 150 also. This is how I can say that. After all, why they are getting it? So this is how we can say that you should have applied your mind, and without knowing this, if you apply some of the intelligent guess on the basis of knowledge, so this is how you could have written this answer. And let's say some people have tried, not exactly in this way, but in their way, and that is partially, let's say, they have been successful in writing that answer. We don't need to write more than 150 or even 100 words, because examiner also know he cannot write more than that. Right. This should have been the approach. The question you do not know. Suppose you do not know, you cannot write like this. Right. So what then you can write? At least you can write on positivism. कुछ ऐसे term है, let's say that right. In fact, इसमें functionalist term भी it is given, positivist भी given, empirical भी given. This is how it is. If you do not know this interpretivist, etc., who they are, so still you should have written only on positivism, empirical aspect. And you know also that now there is a different method, means these methods are somehow being rejected, or these apart from these methods there are also other methods which are being prescribed. And this way you could have written that apart from these functional, right, empirical, positivist, now this is the era of postmodern, right, post-structural, in which there is methodological pluralism, or let's say that acceptance to other methods of epistemological inquiry. Right, finished. Still it could have been better. Then the answer which some people have written, classical theory, Herbert Simon, theory X, Y, Douglas MacGregor, right, this is how you write. It is no way we can say that you have tried and applied according to the question. Rather you think that आता तो नहीं है, चलो जो आता है वही लिख देते हैं. Right. So this can be a problem. Right. Now exactly who they are. Now let's come this question. Right. See, first, are you able to understand it? Right. This is also a question. Right. Simple. The question is saying that those who are functional, right, are positivist and empirical. So they fail to understand the theoretical presupposition, means they fail to understand, right, many aspects of human behavior in organization which they are explaining. In organization theory building, when they study human behavior, so they are not able to understand many such behavior, right, and it is simply because of their method which they apply. Right. Functionalists are, let's say, that classical thinkers, all those organization theory of, from, let's say, that human classical approach to behavioral approach, they are known as functionalists because they are focusing on functions of organization, right, functions of bureaucracy, role and responsibility, principles of organization, what organization should do, how organization should achieve it or not. Although specifically you may be knowing that Henry Fayol is a functionalist, right. So वहाँ से भी you could have guessed, at least you could have written on Henry Fayol, etc. But that is also not the part. Then they fail to understand. Why they fail to understand? Because they adopt some approach which are value free. Right. So they fail to understand simply because they are value free. It means they study only those behavior which they can verify, observe, testify. Then what does, let's say, those behavior or what those behavior mean which we cannot verify, which we cannot establish, which we cannot testify? Do they contribute to any knowledge in organization? Right. Or do they contribute to any understanding in society? So certainly let's say that apart from whatever the objective criteria or objective standards we have in society or organization, there are also certain subjective standards which are also very essential in our society. Society or organization cannot be robotic type, right? So we cannot make organization or society very robotic. This is how, and with this perspective, interpretivist and others, so they have questioned empirical and positivist approach. Right. So interpretivist will belong to a post-positivist approach, a post-structural approach. Right. In which they aim to not solve the problems or organization of society, but to understand the problems of society. Understand those subjective standards and behavior of people, their thinking. So their basic purpose is understanding, not solving problems and building a theory. Right. Because they are against those positivist and empirical, simply that they consider society or human behavior from objective science perspective, but they belong to a school who think that social sciences should not become objective science. Right. Since it deals with human behaviors, it should remain subjective. Right. This is the perspective they bring, and this is how the answer you should have written. And such thinkers are, some names are there, it is difficult to remember, but anyhow, you can try. Right, because seeing these standards, I don't have any hope. Right. I have memorized, it is your chance now. Right. Wilhelm Dilth. Right. Kya naam hai? Right. By the way, there is a very simple name, right, which you can remember. But I have a fear you may end up mentioning our institute name. Right. This is also a name of a thinker. Right. A Western thinker. Right. So, right. Interpretivist he is also. Another thinker is Right, this name you may be knowing. Right, 3 names are sufficient. Right, I will not tell more than that. Other names you want to see, so you can Googlize. Right, this is how. After that, let's say that after writing all these things what we have told, right, you should have written that although interpretivists let's say have their own perspective, but right, the field of organization theory, right, will be influenced by all the perspective, including positivist and empirical thinkers. And that should have been your conclusion. Right. This is how it is. Although interpretivist, right. So they have their own perspective of understanding human behavior, right. Social understanding, but the field of organization theory, right, will also have empirical and positivist method. Right. Simply because organization theory has quest for also not only let's say solving the problems of society, but also building theories which are essential for, right, achieving the aims and objectives of organization. So first one was short one, this one is a long one, anyone you can write as introduction, sorry, conclusion. Right. And this way you should have ended. Right. Now there are some other things. Critically analyze, that I will deal later, what we have done. Right. Introduction. So certainly you should write introduction, whatever you introduction you write, you should not write more than, right, what we can say, 1.5 to 2 lines of introduction. If you are not able to write, keep practicing only introduction. And if you are not able to write, don't write. Right. What should be the introduction? Right. So organization theory has many approaches in its theory building to understand human behavior. Right. Interpretivists represent a new perspective. Right. Interpretivists represent a new perspective. So that is your introduction. Now you can compare what introduction we have written, what conclusion we have written. Right. Introduction and conclusion, again, conclusion should be having certain, let's say, opening. It should give some open message. Right. It should not be closed. So we have told that organization theory is known by some other methods also. We have not closed it. Means after interpretivist there can be also some other approaches. Right. And it is a bit comprehensive, summative. This is how we can say. But the question is that introduction is only on interpretivist that we are writing, linking to organization theory. Because the question is on that. Right. And it should be in that fashion. Now what does it mean when we say critically analyze? Critically means you cannot write anything. Right. When we use the term critical, in case of critically analyze, critically comment, critically discuss, there are 3 terms last year have been used. Right. So when we use in these contexts, critically analyze, critically comment, etc. So critically, when they have written critical, so it means you cannot write anything. Whatever you are writing, that should have certain logic. That should be based on certain rational criteria. Anything you cannot write. Although even in analyze you cannot write anything, but since in analyze it is written, now this is a society which is moving towards more objectivity. So this is how they have started also mentioning critically analyze, not only analyze. Right. These terms were not mentioned, let's say that 1 year ago, but they have started. It means in answer, whatever you are writing, you should, this is how you cannot mention, and whatever we have talked, this is how we can say that. So it should be critical, reason based. Right. However, you can do only when you have content. But in examination, your task is simply to write answer. Somehow answer should be written. This is the task. Right. So these comments may not be very important. In some cases, comments may be important, because certainly when you write critically, you certainly will write on some logic base. This can be the situation. Right. So this is how this question. Now we should take next question. Globalization. Your question. So this is how I can say. First and second. Yes, you ask question. You have question. Yes. Right. See, social construction theory, so certainly I am not aware much about this. This is how I can say that. So I cannot tell difference between. See, it is also part of constructionist theory, right? Because they do not adopt the Derrida deconstruction. It is part of social construction theory. Means interpretivist critical theory, they belong to the social construction theory. This we can say. But since social construction theory, let's say first it is more in sociology, right? But interpretivist critical theory we deal in public administration. So it is very difficult to distinguish it. But interpretivist critical theory, they belong to social construction theory. This we can say, right? This is how I can say that. So second question. Globalization, already you know it, there is nothing, no content to tell. The only content is public administration. Right. Isn't it? Now you can write a different content.
In the first question itself, these theoretical presuppositions, which are these theoretical presuppositions?
Theoretical presuppositions about suppositions about human behavior in organization.
How come these functionalists are not able to see these presuppositions?
They are able to see, but the thing is that they will try to be positivist. Positivist means they will adopt value-free approach. So value-laden things they will not take into consideration in theory-building quest. Right. This is how I can say. End of globalization. Is it? Certainly it is not end of globalization. There are 2-3 category of people, but none of the answer is not satisfactory. You can imagine. It is, this question is easier than first one, isn't it? Simpler one, but I don't think that people have written answer satisfactorily. Why? So globalization, an end of history, also an end of globalization. First part you have not written. If you see the question, read that irresistible force that was inevitably, read, inexorably making the world flat and has a very profound impact on public administration for over 3 decades. It is irreversible. First part. Second part is it is reversible. Read. So are you able to maintain the distinction between them? Then answer. No, it's not like that. First you write globalization, and globalization is this. Uske baad then you write some of the things कि क्या हुआ है globalization, and then you write on Brexit, what has happened, Brexit, then European Union, etc. All these things, then end. Read. The question is that how you should have begun. Introduction is very important. Most of the answer, I have not found any single answer that let's see this. Introduction. Then no doubt we write this and conclusion. If you remember simple formula of introduction, so introduction should have some key terms. We should use in introduction some of the key terms of the question. This is how we say it. Right. But in introduction it is not. You write on globalization. In body part again you write half answer is on globalization, and then people start on question. right? And some people, let's say that they will write at least half on this, right? Some people after writing this, they do not also write here. They write last paragraph as this. This is how the answer written, right? So you can see your answers. If you are writing here, so in examination, what will be? The only thing is that UPSC is very much liberal than us, right? This we can say that. Anyhow, simply let's say you should have written that Brexit is a recent development, right? Our latest development, right? Which is going to reliven debate on globalization, right? No. So which is going to right, bring debate on globalization, right? So give a new life to debate on globalization. This is how it can be, right? So that should have been introduction, right? After that you should write on, let's say that Brexit. So you should have written on Brexit in brief what is Brexit and why there is a debate on end of globalization. So its withdrawal from European Union is being considered to some extent. That some people have written that it will now bring end to globalization. Why it will bring end to globalization? Great. So it is a manifestation of rise of nationalism. It is a manifestation of rise of territorial sovereignty, maintaining territorial sovereignty, or it is a let's say manifestation of bringing back Westphalian model, right? Westphalian model. देन आपका वो पब्लिक एड वाला आंसर होगा, राइट? Right, which due to globalization, right, so has been sidelined, right, or has become less relevant, right? This should have been. Since Brexit is not one-off issue, there are also other developments, or it has not been, let's say that due to certain vacuum, there have been some other developments also. In some other countries also there are similar kind of development, right, which is resulting into states to maintain certain level of protection, restriction, right, which are going to affect what globalization was talking of, global village, right, or which will affect many other such developments in public administration. कभी कभी public administration का भी नाम ले लो आप, right? So this is how it is. So that will show कि yes, public you are writing public administration, right? So some other things will be also affected in public administration. This should happen, right? After writing this, then you come that whether it will be end. So then you should analyze it. It should not be considered as end, right? Because one incident or some incidents cannot result into ending something. In fact, in our society, nothing ends, right? Nothing becomes dead. Things continue in certain fashion. Like ancient time has continued, medieval time has continued. Some remnants you can find somewhere. No. India is a party to all three types of society. So the question is, this is called perspective. This is called your analysis, right? It does not need you should read on end of globalization, Brexit model. गूगलाइज कर रहे हो, खोज रहे हो कहीं कुछ आर्टिकल मिल रहा है कि नहीं मिल रहा है, उससे क्या फर्क पड़ेगा? हाउ मच यू विल रीड, राइट? So you should have written that this one of issue can create certain level of, let's say, shock, but it cannot bring shift. It can bring some shock, but cannot bring shift. Right? Because globalization is now highly institutionalized. Right? It has got institutionalized in last 3 decades. Right? So that Sushab mentioned how it has got institutionalized. So there is internationalization of public administration. Right. Many nation states are working together on projects, research, theory building, cooperation. Minobrook Third Conference was a global perspective, or bringing to global perspective, which recently happened. Right. So we have many journals from international perspective. Right. Korean International Journal of Public Administration, Asia Pacific Journal of Public Administration. Means there is no only Asia Pacific or etc. where there is only South China Sea. There is also journal. Right. This is how you should remember. That is public administration. South China Sea you are writing, it is IR. Right. So this should have been written. Already globalization and ICT, they have given rise to what we say fourth industrial revolution. The fourth, can ICT developments be stopped? There can be certain movement on, let's say, bringing territorial sovereignty back, but certainly ICT will make it meaningless. Fourth industrial revolution will make it meaningless. Right. So that should have been mentioned. And therefore we should not see it as end of globalization. Rather, certainly yes, there will be debate on it. It may slow down. Some other country may go to this fall, to this Westphalian model or Westphalian perspective, but certainly it is not going to be end of globalization. So this is how it should have been. Rather, we can say in that way, positive way, there can be certain hybridization model also. There can also be hybridized model that is called globalization. Right. Bringing, or let's say that trying to adjust between local concerns and global concerns, that we say globalization. So that can also be added. Right. Let's take next question. Option choice. Right. You don't have choice. Right. The question is that there is no question, but this is the question. Right. Do not Googlize in the class when you write your test. Right. This is how. Since it is Googlize word, so that's why we are talking it. Or do not try to know some of the terms you do not know by Googlizing etc. and then write answer. That has no meaning. आप यहाँ पे लिख लोगे, वहाँ कौन Googlize करने आएगा? Right. Second thing is that do not, since we have 15 days gap, so don't see paper unless you write your test. Right. Because certainly test paper etc. today is a piracy market. This is how we can say that. So it will be, and somehow you can come across this kind of paper etc. It's better that you should not see the paper. It's not that the paper is so important etc. Simply that to maintain some freshness in you. Right. So you should not see also paper and write it priorly. Right. Because the way this question has been written, we think there has been some tempering. Anyhow, some people can know it also. It's not that we are not saying. Now, this is a question in paper first. And let's say test schedule, it is very clearly mentioned, chapter first. Introduction. It is not test in development dynamics. Right. This is how. Or paper second. So your answer should be theoretical one. Yes, agar pure complete mock test ka ye question hota, and then you could have written that answer. So to some extent it is acceptable. Right. But when you are writing a test, let's say that on introduction, and you are writing a content on, let's say that all that aspect, this is highly problematic. Right. There is no any theoretical content in your answer. Right. Whatever you have written, and it is not answer at all. Although some marks should be given, this is how. Right. Already feminist perspective is a known perspective. Questions have also been asked. So why you don't you try to know some theoretical content on that? Right. And why you have not tried to know it? This is also a question. Then what you are reading? Any ordinary book, Mohit Bhattacharya Sahab, so he writes on feminist perspective. Right. And that is quite sufficient for this paper. Right. But it is not. Then what people keep writing? जेंडर डेवलपमेंट, जेंडर पर्सपेक्टिव, जेंडर बस्टिंग, और जितना आ जाता है आपको जेंडर पर्सपेक्टिव से, दैट यू कीप राइटिंग. रेट दैट इज नॉट लेट्स से राइट आंसर. एनी हाउ वी हैव टू गिव सम मार्क्स. दिस इज हाउ 3 मार्क्स. चलो भैया 3 मार्क्स ले लो. रेट